Hello, I'm Zach the Penguin. I'm going to be painting characters in my style. I have made a post saying that if you comment down below, I will try to get them in my style, like paint them. So, here they are. Starting off on number 1, we got Finn Mertens. So here's a picture of him just so you all can get an idea of what he originally looked like. He comes from a show called Adventure Time. So I tried to make the background adventure-y by putting bushes in the background. He has a very simple color palette. Now at first I made his skin color way too dark, but I just added white on top of it. And now it's time for line work and highlights. I use pens for both of these. I decided to have him hold the golden sword. And there you have it. Speaking of number 2, we got Two-Face from Batman. Now there have been many versions of Two-Face, but mine was inspired by their original comics. I figured if one side of somebody's face got spilled with acid, it wouldn't be burnt, it would be just deformed, so that's what I went with. Now the regular side of Two-Face, I decided to give him a suit that looks like it would be from the show The Office. Their suits are very bland, very dull colors. Now the other side of Two-Face, I decided to give him a lot of color. Not inspired by clowns, but inspired by freak show acts, I guess. Then I took some dark black and made some shadows around every area that needed it. I decided to make one eye more opened than the other. So I took some red and really went in with all the red. Now in case you're wondering why he kinda looks like me, most artists, when they're making fictional characters, they take a lot of references from their own complexions. Now the hair was a bit tricky on both sides. I didn't know what would be right, straight or curled, but I went with curled. And now it's time to put in highlights and line work. I decided to use my white pen to make his hair and goatee. I forgot to mention that I made one side of the background plain and the other side crusty and gnarly, just so it can complement him. And there you have it. Coming at number 3, we got Benedict's version of Sherlock Holmes. Pretty much Benedict in a Sherlock Holmes outfit. I tried to limit myself of how much color I use, so I added a lot of black into my colors, which toned down everything. In this particular piece, I gave him that very plain jacket that he has on, and I also gave him the duck hat. Now, in order to nail celebrities, you gotta get their most recognizable features and make sure you put it in your piece for people to recognize. In this case, probably his nose, his skinny face, and his eyes. To keep it to the original classics in the books, I tried to make plaid all over him, just so it's more recognizable as Sherlock Holmes. I also gave him his very famous smoking pipe. I did not put an arm grabbing it, I just let it float in the air. Then I took some black and spread it all around to represent smoke. Then I took a flicking brush and flicked a bunch of black all over the place to make it look like splatters. And there you have it. So my sister suggested me to do Osmosis Jones from Osmosis Jones, so that's number 4. He was a fun one to work with, a lot of shapes and a lot of squishing and pulling. For those of you who have never seen the movie, he is a germ that fights bad guy germs to save this man's life. I want to see a movie where they make him fight the corona. Number 5, Frosty the Snowman. I had so much fun with Frosty the Snowman. Originally he was in a cartoon, but I changed him more realistic. Now there's actually a description of what exactly he's supposed to look like. A corn-cut pipe and a button nose, and 2 eyes made out of coal, and also a magic hat. Now this is a Christmassy movie, and to keep it a Christmassy movie, I decided to make him have a scarf that's green. It was getting a little plain, so I added a bunch of patterns all over it to represent Christmas trees. Now typically, it's very normal for me to make a bunch of patterns over clothing, polka dots, stripes, etc. I've also used that flicking technique to make a bunch of snow around him. I also used the white pen to make snow and icicles. And there you have it, Frosty. Last but not least, Rocky Balboa. Now remember when I said that I get the complexion of myself to make characters? I don't know if you ever seen me before in person, but I'm a Slim Jim. Which means that this is probably the first time in a really long time that I have actually tried to paint muscle. I don't know much about this guy, but I'm pretty sure that he was like a famous boxer or something. I'm pretty sure they made a whole movie about him using the actor Sylvester Stallone. Now I tried to make him pop by having a red background. I tried to use both of the pens to make a lot of detail on his belt. And bam! Done. If any of y'all want this painting, you can have it for 60 bucks. Hope you were entertained and or inspired. Anyways, bye-bye.